And you are looking at the Alabama High School Athletic Association offices in Montgomery. Good Saturday morning to you. John Holder sitting in with you for the next couple of hours. We are going to preview the Super 7 state championships right here live on WOTM. Part of that coverage will include interviewing the state championship coaches in classes 1A through 6A. The state semifinals last night across the state of Alabama, and now the entire field is set for the state championship games at Protective Stadium in Birmingham on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week, December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We're going to begin right now by taking you to Montgomery, and we're going to begin right here at the top of the program with state championship coaches, and we will begin with the head coach of the Sweetwater Bulldogs. They are the Class 1A South Alabama champions, headed for the Class 1A state championship game. Here's Coach Pat Thompson. Coach, good morning. Glad to have you with us this morning live on WOTM.
Man, it's good to be here. Just blessed to be here.
Coach, your game last night, unique. You traveled to Brantley for the South Alabama championship game in Class 1A, the only game in the semifinals that involved a number 1 versus number 2. Both teams came in undefeated, and the game lived up to its billing. You win the game over Brantley 21-18. Tell us about that big semifinal win last night down in Crenshaw County.
Man, it was a classic game. You know, 1A, 2A, number 1 and number 2, excuse me. Those guys just they played their hearts out, and our guys did too. And it was a great game. You know, our defense came up with some big stops there at the end, and we were able to pull it out.
Coach, tell us about this 2021 Sweetwater team. You have been very impressive. Of course, you won the Region 2 championship, undefeated now, 13-0 as you head to Birmingham. Just tell folks around the state kind of the characteristics of this Sweetwater Bulldog team.
Well, we got a real good senior class. We've got 11 seniors. Every one of them starts somewhere, and they're the leaders of our team. They're the guys that have been there. A lot of them have started since they were in the 9th grade. We got a couple guys that got a lot of playing time in 8th grade. One kid even started the championship game in 2017 as an 8th grader. So we've got a lot of experience, and our seniors are by far our leaders of our team. And we got some good guys around them too that really fill in. But our seniors are what leads us.
Coach, who are some of the guys that folks around the state, as they watch the games live next week here on WOTM, who are some of the folks from Sweetwater that fans need to probably keep an eye on? Who are some of your expected leaders on the team?
Well, some of our better backs, Jalen Lewis-Horton, Christian Dunning, those two guys are our leading running backs. Out at receiver, you got LaShawn Young. You know, our quarterback's Walker Thompson. He does a good job running our offense. He's my youngest son, and we kind of butt heads at times, but he does a good job for us. I'm really proud of him. Up front, we got Tyler Ward, Michael Allen Cole. Those two seniors up there, you can't replace those two guys. They've just been really solid all year long. They also start for us on our defense, and our defensive front is phenomenal. We like Michael Allen Cole, Tyler Ward, and Jamal and Albert. Those guys are as solid as any. Our linebacking core has played really well this year, and that's Walker and then Trace Luker, which happens to be my nephew. He's pretty stout in there as well.
Coach, I don't think you could probably put into words how special it is. You mentioned coaching your son. That's special in and of itself, but then to go to the state championship game, you and your son, I guess there's probably not even words to describe how special this will be coming up in Birmingham on Thursday.
No, it's just not. You know, me and him, you know, we hugged a lot last night, and his mama got in there, and she hugged on him well too, and it's an exciting time for us and our family.
Coach, for folks around the state that are not maybe familiar with Sweetwater football, when it comes to tradition, there is no program in the state that takes a back seat to Sweetwater. I think 8 state championships throughout school history. This is a program sitting over in West Alabama that, again, takes a back seat to no one. Tell folks about the rich tradition of Sweetwater football.
You know, it goes way back. Coach Nolan Atkins, I attend church with him every Sunday, so he's always picking me, just finding out about the game that week. You know, he kind of set the bar for us, winning 4 state championships. And Coach Stacy Luker came along. He also goes to church with us, and he's got 5. You know, and it's just the players, the community, everybody just believes in it, and it's amazing.
Coach, what does it mean? The stadium there is of course, named for Coach Atkins. What does it mean to you personally to walk through that stadium every Friday night and walk onto the field named for him, and then the close personal relationship that you have with him is also?
Well, it's amazing, you know, just the way that he came in and took me in, really. He was when I got the job, he was one of the first people to call me. I think his son called me first and he called me second, just congratulating me on the job. And you know, I know the shoes there are big, and I hope I've done well to kind of carry it on.
Coach, now let's talk about your opponent. I know you don't know a whole lot about Wadley at this point in time. There are some connections there, obviously, between Wadley and Sweetwater and the coaching staffs and things like that. But just your initial impressions of Wadley in this 1A championship game.
Well, they'll be a well-coached team. You know, Coach Motley was with me for 4 years and did a great job for us. He was our defensive coordinator on the 17 championship team, and I know he's done a really good job over there. And they'll be hard-nosed kids that get after it just like what we have.
Some teams have experience playing in the Super 7, but no team, everybody's going to be equal when it comes to the venue this year, because it's a brand new stadium, and so the first time ever that the Super 7 championships have been at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. Your thoughts on, and your team's thoughts about coming and playing in this fantastic brand new venue in downtown Birmingham?
Man, we're excited. You know, anytime you get to go to a new place, it's exciting, and we've been blessed at Sweetwater to be able to play in all three. When we played at Legion Field, when we went to Auburn, we played in Tuscaloosa, and now to be able to go to Protective Stadium, it's awesome.
And I think that speaks very well to the tradition of Sweetwater. Not many teams have done that, to have played in what will be all four venues of the Super 7 state championships. Coach, thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. Best wishes to your Sweetwater team as you make the journey to Birmingham for the Class 1A championship game against Wadley coming up on Thursday.
Thank you very much.
Pat Thompson, head coach of the Sweetwater Bulldogs, the Class 1A South Alabama champions, headed for a showdown with another set of Bulldogs from Wadley Thursday at 3 p.m. live right here on WOTM at the Super 7 championships at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. Sweetwater beating Brantley last night 21-18. Wadley going in and upending Pickens County 41-36. Battle of Bulldogs coming up on Thursday, December 2nd at Protective Stadium in Birmingham.
I'm Roger, your in-house expert with Alabama Professional, and your questions keep pouring in to Ask Roger. Judy in Arndale asked, what services can APS provide? Alabama Professional offers basement waterproofing, foundation repair, humidity and mold control, and encapsulation of nasty crawl spaces. Since 1977, homeowners have entrusted APS to solve basement, foundation, and crawl space problems. Call for a free, no-obligation estimate today and keep those emails and questions coming.
The perfect checking account doesn't exist. Not at a bank, that is. So why do you keep looking there? At AmFirst, you can get no minimum balance or monthly fees, an instant issue debit card, and free checks with unlimited check writing. But who doesn't want more? Like a rewards program you'll actually use, and convenient digital tools that make it easy to manage your account from anywhere. Now you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
I'm Roger, your in-house expert with Alabama Professional, and your questions keep pouring in to Ask Roger. Stan in Mountain Brook asked, our basement is damp, musty, and humid. Can APS help? Stan, almost half of the air you breathe comes from your basement. A wet or damp basement worsens allergies and damages valuables. We'll transform your basement into a dry, usable space and improve the air quality of your home. Call for a free, no-obligation estimate today and keep those emails and questions coming.
Continuing now with our live coverage of the Super 7 State Football Championships coming up next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. John Holder with you live on Saturday morning on WOTM. We are talking about Class 1A football now, and we're going to take you back to the AHSA offices in Montgomery. Going to speak with the head coach now of the team that will represent the North in Class 1A, the Wadley Bulldogs. Coach Shannon Motley joined us at this time. Coach Motley, good morning. Welcome in. Glad to have you with us live here on WOTM.
Good morning.
Coach, this is a tremendous win last night for your football team. You went on the road all the way from the extreme east side of the state on the Georgia border over to the Mississippi border to take on a Pickens County team that had either been in the semifinals or the finals, I think, 5 years in a row. You go in and win the game against Pickens County last night in Reform, 41-36. Tell us about the game last night and how that exciting game unfolded.
Man, we just we jumped out pretty quick on them. It was 27-6 at halftime, and we go into halftime, and I tell those guys, I said, this game ain't over, because I knew they had athletes all over the field. Their quarterback was good, and so we come out after halftime and let them score and catch up with us, and actually they take the lead, and then you know, it was a dogfight after that. We just back and forth. And we ended up making a defensive stop there at the end of the game, and run the clock out. Thank goodness. But they had a good football team.
Coach, this is a tremendous historic-making win last night because Wadley now in the state championship game for the first time ever. It's a tradition-rich program. Wadley's been close in the past, but now you're headed to Protective Stadium in Birmingham for this Class 1A championship game against Sweetwater. Tell us about this Wadley football team for folks around the state that might be a little bit surprised and didn't expect Wadley to be there. This is a really good football team. And tell us about maybe the characteristics of this 2021 Wadley team.
Well, I got a good senior class. Got 13 seniors this year, and man, they just bought in, and they bought in from the beginning. They've, you know, offensively and defensively, we've been doing the same thing for 3 years now. So they finally picking it up, and man, we've been grinding out offensively, and playing some pretty good defense too. So. You know, it all just boils down to they just kind of bought in, you know, and somehow they find a way to win. So, and I'm proud of this group right here.
Coach Motley, as we count down to Thursday at 3 o'clock at Protective Stadium, this game with Sweetwater, folks around the state will be tuning in to watch your team. Who can they expect to see? Who are maybe some top players for the Wadley Bulldogs?
Well, at running backs, we got Jamal Buchanan and Jacob Marable, and at fullback we got Jaquez Wilkes, and our quarterback LaKevian O'Neal, and they both turn around and play defense for us in some form, some fashion. You know, some of them play linebacker, some of them play in the secondary, and then offensive line we got Pace Hutchinson, Jacob Knowles, Joe Howard, Joseph Freeman. We got an 8th grader, Jabari Burns, and then we got Kalen Cottle plays wide out for us, and they all end up have to play defense too. So you know, most of the guys play both ways, and you know, that's just the gist of it. And then we got some other guys that kind of fit in here and there, you know, and they've been playing hard.
Coach Motley, your team now moves to 13-1. You'll take on a Sweetwater team who's 13-0. In normal situations, Wadley on the east side of the state playing Sweetwater on the west side of the state, hours away. You wouldn't think they would be familiar with each other, but that is certainly not the case here. You have a very deep connection to Sweetwater. Tell folks about that.
Yeah, so I was down there for 5 years, and man, it's a great community down there. They are a true football community. You know, everything revolves around football down there, and around sports really. And you know, and Wadley's kind of that way too. They revolve around athletics, and the school does, and the community's bought in too. You know, and in my time down there, I learned a lot. Around a lot of good people, obviously, that know a lot about football. So, you know, I think this is a great opportunity for Wadley, and I'm looking forward to it.
Coach Motley, you are a coach's son. Your dad, Tony Motley, a legendary coach, most notably at Munford High School. How much do you take from your coaching now from your dad?
You know, a lot of people tell me I take a good bit from, you know, just personality and the way that I conduct, the way the season goes through, and the off season and everything, they say, man, you do things a lot like your daddy does them, you know. And you know, he's real old school, and but you know, I learned a lot from him, obviously, and I've been around some good people too. You kind of take from the people you've been around. You use it. Some of it you throw away, and but a lot of it you take and use and learn from it.
And Coach, I know you hear this a lot too, but you look a lot like your dad too. I know you get that a lot. Coach, thank you so much.
I do.
I know you do. Coach, thank you so much for being with us, spending some time with us. Best wishes to you and your Wadley football team as you make your way to Birmingham for the Class 1A state championship game.
Thank you.
Coach Shannon Motley is the head coach of the Wadley Bulldogs, headed for the 1A title game versus Sweetwater Thursday at 3 p.m. live right here on WOTM. Our coverage in previewing the Super 7 championships continues live on WOTM.
I'm Roger, your in-house expert with Alabama Professional, and your questions keep pouring in to Ask Roger. Stan in Mountain Brook asked, our basement is damp, musty, and humid. Can APS help? Stan, almost half of the air you breathe comes from your basement. A wet or damp basement worsens allergies and damages valuables. We'll transform your basement into a dry, usable space and improve the air quality of your home. Call for a free, no-obligation estimate today and keep those emails and questions coming.
Every bank has their own app, but it's just that, theirs, not yours. At AmFirst, our app was made for you. So it's easy to pay bills, deposit checks, or transfer money to friends and family from anywhere. It's even customizable, which means you can personalize your dashboard, create usage alerts, and redeem points for rewards you'll love. And you can do it all on your own time. So what are you waiting for? Get the app made for you at AmFirst.
I was in a car accident. My front tooth cracked. I'm definitely embarrassed to smile. I got mini dental implants. It changed my life because it made me feel like me. Like I can smile and feel like Ashley. I just want to say thank you.
You can be you again with mini dental implants. I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
I'm more than happy. I'm ecstatic.
We are back on WOTM. This is the Alabama High School Athletic Association offices in Montgomery. John Holder with you live on a Saturday morning as we are previewing the Super 7 state championships. The field is set now for classes 1A through 7A for games beginning Wednesday, going all the way through next Friday night. All those games live right here on WOTM. Right now, we're going to take you to the AHSA offices in Montgomery. We're going to talk Class 3A football now. The Class 3A South Alabama State Champions headed to Birmingham. The Montgomery Academy Eagles out of Montgomery. Their head coach, Robert Johnson, joins us at this time. Coach, good morning. Welcome in. Glad to have you with us here on WOTM.
Hey, yeah, good morning. Really appreciate you guys having me on.
Coach, the state is abuzz this morning about your football team. You sent some shockwaves across the state last night as you knock off #1 and right there neighborhood rival Montgomery Catholic last night 10-7. A obviously close football game, an exciting football game. Tell folks the details and kind of walk us through the game last night.
Yeah, I mean, we were playing a team that beat us 42-0 earlier in the year, and it's a super team, a lot of great athletes, well coached. Like you said, we're on Vaughn Road, they're on Vaughn Road. Just took us about 5 minutes to get there to get ready to play that ball game. You know, it was a little bit kind of like the Miracle on Ice back in 1980, and we talked to our team about that all week, that upsets do happen. We just got to believe, and they did. And last night, you know, our line of scrimmage, offensive lines and defensive lines really dominated the ball game. You know, the highlight of the game to me was, you know, that team's only given up 2 touchdowns. Their first defense only given up 2 touchdowns all year. We got the ball literally on the 1-inch yard line and went 99 yards. And scored in the second quarter and punched it in. And yeah, I never in my wildest dreams would have thought we could have accomplished that. You know, going 99 and scoring there. So what a great great job there. Then we later in the game in the fourth quarter we moved the ball down, missed a field goal, just a little bit wide right, and then they got really amped and immediately came right down and scored. And I probably didn't take them but a couple minutes to score. Completed 3 big passes. We had a penalty on one of them, a horse collar, which added on another 15, and they scored. And man, it was back to being a ball game. And they stuffed us. And then our defense held. That's really where they could have won the ball game right there. But our defense held. They had a punt, ball went in the end zone, and we only had a couple minutes, but we drove that ball 60 yards and put it right back where the same field goal kicker who was All-State last year, and he's got ice in his veins. And that's all we were playing for was one more field goal, and he busted that ball through the uprights as the buzzer sounded.
Coach Johnson, special teams, we see it, especially when you get to this point in time. You get to the semifinals and the finals, special teams become even more magnified. And you just mentioned a couple of great special teams plays by your team last night.
Oh, absolutely. Our punter also was amazing. We were not going to punt it to them. He kept punting that ball right down the sideline, and that thing would roll another 10 or 15 yards. That was a huge deal in the ball game. Carson Springer, and I think he should be the All-State punter also. These guys our 2 kickers are really, really, really good.
Coach Johnson, folks around the state, the fans want to know, because obviously you mentioned it, the 42-0 just a few weeks ago that your team lost to Montgomery Catholic. And this doesn't happen very often when a team turns that kind of score around in a relatively short period of time. So folks want to know, how did you and your football team do it? The mental toughness and tenacity
that's a great question.
Be tough. Yes.
Yeah, so there are a lot of things. The first thing is back last spring. The year before we played Trinity and Catholic in the playoffs after playing them in the regular season. And we looked at the map, on the playoff brackets, we thought there's a really good chance this could happen again if we were fortunate enough. And, I think our kids were just really waiting for the playoffs all year, honestly. We didn't have a great regular season. It was good, but it wasn't. We weren't playing top caliber ball. And when the playoffs hit, we really turned it around. But last spring, we as a coaching staff, it was in April, we met and we said that we were not going to really execute our game plan, show our game plan that first game. We just weren't, because if we did, they were going to know what we had and we were going to give it our best shot. And maybe we win that first game, maybe we don't, but now they're really ready for us. Honestly, the best thing that could have happened to beat a team like that was to get beat 42-0. It was a hard pill to swallow, but we swallowed it, and we really did. And and then we got to work, and it was a meaningless game. It was a non-region game, and we tried to do a lot of selling to our kids about that. And like this past week, we took our offense and we put them, lined them up the way we were the first time we played them. And then we said, all right, now move to where you are now. And we had 8 different kids move. So 8 out of 11 were in different spots or new guys were in. So we weren't the same team. And the defense, we had about 4 or 5 guys that moved from the first ball game. And our defensive game plan coach, Ethan McBride, I think he's the best teams coordinator in the state. He runs a 2021 defense. We run a 1950 offense. And it's pretty cool contrast and styles there. But the game plan he came up with, and it was hard on him to not really show his game plan, but he wasn't going to do it. And weirdly enough, that week we practiced the real game plan, but then we went out there and didn't show it. And, and hats off to him to be able to do that and be able to swallow those touchdowns after touchdowns in the first game. Also in the first game, we turned the ball over 3 times like in the first quarter. So that didn't help. And then we just shut it down after that. But I was really proud of them. Speaking of the 1950 offense, we kind of tried to advance a little bit and add in the veer. So we went from the 1950 offense to a 1970 offense. So we feel like we're really high tech now.
Coach, that is one of the most amazing stories. I just am sitting here amazed at listening at how you told that. That takes a tremendous amount of commitment, tenacity, character from your coaches and your football team to do what you just described. Absolutely. Right there. That is really amazing. Hats off to you and your team.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate that. We sure do.
Coach, thank you so much for spending time with us here on WOTM. Looking forward to seeing your football team take on the Piedmont Bulldogs in the Class 3A state championship game coming up on Thursday. The early game at 11 a.m. in the morning at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. Congratulations to your team. Best wishes as you make the trip from Montgomery up to Birmingham on Thursday.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate what y'all do.
Robert Johnson, head coach of the Montgomery Academy Eagles, headed for the Class 3A state championship game against Piedmont, coming up on Thursday morning at 11 a.m. live right here on WOTM. Back with more Super 7 previews in just a moment.
Have you seen foam lift concrete? Watch it raise the sidewalk. The poly-level system raises building floors, levels driveways, raises steps. Amazing, isn't it? APS Foundation.
I was in a car accident. My front tooth cracked. I'm definitely embarrassed to smile. I got mini dental implants. It changed my life because it made me feel like me. Like I can smile and feel like Ashley. I just want to say thank you.
You can be you again with mini dental implants. I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
I'm more than happy. I'm ecstatic.
This holiday season, visit Festival of Lights, proudly brought to you by Alabama Power. Chocolaco Park in Oxford, Alabama is transformed into a winter wonderland and is the perfect way to get into the holiday spirit. Drive through the Twinkling Light Show, then stop and enter Santa's Village, sponsored by First Bank of Alabama, for delicious food, outdoor skating, and a visit with Santa. Come and see the wonder that is Festival of Lights. Open November 20th through December 24th, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. nightly. To get your tickets, visit oxfordlights.com.
Shop with confidence at King's Mattress Gallery. Newly stocked signature sectionals and recliners for any size room. Mega Motion and signature lift chairs. Sealy Hybrid Duo Chill mattresses for a cool night's sleep. Temper Ergo smart bases that respond to snoring automatically. Visit King's Mattress Gallery today.
Family owned and operated since 1994.
Proudly serving in Sylacauga and surrounding areas.
It is a chilly fall Saturday in the state of Alabama, getting ready for the state championship games in classes 1A through 7A, plus the first ever girls flag football state championship game. All of those games ahead next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. John Holder back with you as we preview the Super 7. This morning we're looking at classes 1A through 6A, speaking with coaches and so forth, and we're talking Class 3A football now. We've got the North Alabama champions out of Class 3A, the Piedmont Bulldogs. Their head coach, Steve Smith, joins us at this time. Coach Smith, good morning. Welcome. Glad to have you with us once again here on WOTM.
Appreciate you having us on this morning. Glad to be here.
Coach Smith, last night, the wildest, craziest, and longest game, no doubt, in the state of Alabama was at Jack Stewart Field in the Sacs area of Anniston. Your football team, in a rematch with Sacs, wins the game in overtime, 52-44. Coach, I was at that game standing on the sidelines, and I lost track of all the big plays. Maybe you can kind of take us from your perspective through how that game unfolded last night through those, 96 points.
Well, it was a wild game, John. You were there and you saw a lot of changes in momentum, a lot of big plays on both sides. Two teams that were, very experienced, senior-laden teams that were laying it on the line, and it's a shame somebody had to lose a game like that. I told one of the coaches, I said, make sure we had the AED over there. I thought 2 or 3 times I was going to have to get them to get it for me, but just a heart stopper every turn. A lot of credit goes to Sacs in the season they've had. Coach Miller and his guys played their best last night. Both teams really got after it well, and I was just glad that we were able to come out of there with a win. But you mentioned the big plays. It just seemed like they were coming in bunches for both sides, and just glad to get out of there with a win at the end.
Coach, a great crowd there last night, great atmosphere for high school football. One of the things was interesting about that game last night that you don't often see, Sacs doesn't make any bones about it. They don't even attempt an extra point. They go for 2 every time. Right. That kind of played into your strategy a little bit, especially in the second half. There were tons of 2-point conversion attempts in that game last night. That is kind of unique. I don't know if I've ever witnessed a game that had more 2-point attempts than the game last night with you and Sacs.
Well, and early on we were kicking, and don't have to be a math genius to figure out. You don't have to make by half of them if you're going for 2, and even if you're making all your kicks. And we just decided there when we got to overtime that we were going to go for 2. We got the ball first, and we went for 2, which is a little bit against the book. Most of the time the book says if you score first, you kick the extra point. But knowing that we hadn't seen them attempt the PAT, I guess, since about week 2 or 3 of the season, we just felt like we might as well go ahead and go for 2, because if that's what they're going to do if they score, if we're not able to keep them out of the end zone. And, hats off to our defense for coming up with a big stop right there in overtime and getting a stop on that 4th down play.
Coach, Piedmont looking for their 5th state championship. All the 4 previous ones have been under you as the head football coach. Tell us about folks around the state know about Piedmont, but they may not know about this 2021 Piedmont Bulldog team. Kind of some of the trademarks of this 2021 bunch you have.
Just a blue-collar bunch. I mean, they're a typical Piedmont team. Those guys, they believe and they work well together. We've got a lot of guys that have sacrificed, selfish interest to be team players. We don't play a lot of guys on both sides of the ball, and therefore, a lot of 3A schools, you'll see kids that start on both sides, but our guys, have done a great job over the years of buying in to playing their role. And I think this team's just another team like that. They love each other. They play hard with each other. They do things the right way to help the team win. And they believe when they go on the field that they're supposed to win, and that's something from a coach's perspective. It's mighty confident to know that when we go on the field, those guys are expecting to win ball games and they're expecting to find a way. And last night was a little bit different than the way it's been going in some other games maybe, but our guys believed and they hung in there and they were very resilient. And even at the end when Sachs scored, I think with 9 seconds to go, and then made a 2-point conversion, they had all the momentum going into the overtime period. Our guys came back and they calmly, regrouped and went out there, and I told them, I said, we got to just go out there and win the overtime period, and that's what they did.
Coach Smith, your team obviously led by a great junior quarterback in Jack Hayes, 6 touchdown passes last night in that victory. He's a great player. Folks around the state know him, I think. He's kind of a household name in high school football, but you've got some other great players. When folks tune into this game here on WOTM, who are some other maybe guys that they need to pay some special attention to?
We've got a couple of guys that are returning All-State players. Landon Smart's an inside linebacker. It's been a 2-time first-team selection at All-State linebacker. He's the leader captain of our defense and the quarterback of the defense per se. And then a couple other captains that we have, Austin Estes, who's a wide receiver on offense, and then Stephen Rainey, who's one of our offensive linemen. Those 4 guys, the 3 I just mentioned plus Jack, are our captains this year. They've done a great job of providing leadership for us, and just had some other guys that have stepped in the backfield. Parker Thornton and Braden Morgan are 2 guys that maybe not have been household names over the years, but they've stepped in and done a great job for us this year, filling the void that we had due to graduation, where Elijah Johnson graduated last year, and just a ton of other guys that may not get a lot of the glitz and glory and may not get their name in the paper a lot, but just a lot of other guys that are doing their job that again have bought into that team first mentality, and they go out there and lay it on the line for their teammates.
It was an all Calhoun County matchup last night between Piedmont and Sachs. 6 of the 8 teams in Class 3A Region 5 are from Calhoun County, and it's probably top to bottom without question the toughest 3A region in the state. How well does playing in Calhoun County, because you play a couple of non-region games against county teams as well in Jacksonville and Alexandria, how does playing in a place like Calhoun County prepare you for what you've done, getting to the state championship game once again?
Well, I want to brag on the football that we got there in that part of Northeast Alabama. I thought at times it gets overlooked, I think, because of the lack of coverage, not being in one of the big 4 cities in the state. But I think over the last 25 years, if you took that northeast corner of Alabama, stretching from DeKalb County down to Clay County, you're going to find a lot of teams that have made deep runs and have won championships or played for championships. And, I think our region does prepare us for the playoffs. I think there's 7 schools from the county that have played in a state championship game within the last 15 years, so, or at least in the semifinals, I should say. A lot of different schools that have been represented deep runs in the playoffs, and I do think that particular region, and then you mentioned Jacksonville and Alexandria, a couple schools within the county that we played non-region, just a lot of good football there, and it's great for us, great for our fans, because we don't, I think the last 2 years, the furthest we've traveled for a game has been 26 miles, and it was just to the other end of the county to Welborn. But, having those schools, and then Cherokee County and Glencoe and Oaks Bluff. They're just right across the line in Etowah County. You know, makes for great rivalries. Our fans get excited about it. Our kids get excited about it. But, you know, best of all, it's a lot of high-quality football that does a great job of preparing you for the playoffs.
Coach Smith, thank you so much for joining us this morning here on WOTM. Best wishes to you and your football team as you travel to Protective Stadium in Birmingham on Thursday to face Montgomery Academy.
Thank you, John. I appreciate you having us on.
Head coach of the Piedmont Bulldogs, Steve Smith, 3A North Alabama champions, headed for the state championship game once again in Birmingham on Thursday morning.
Thank you, brother.
I'm Roger, your in-house expert with Alabama Professional, and your questions keep pouring in to Ask Roger. Judy in Arndale asked, what services can APS provide? Alabama Professional offers basement waterproofing, foundation repair, humidity and mold control, and encapsulation of nasty crawl spaces. Since 1977, homeowners have entrusted APS to solve basement, foundation, and crawl space problems. Call for a free, no-obligation estimate today and keep those emails and questions coming.
Silicaga's best kept secret? No more. Harvey's on Noble is the place to go for the area's best food and drinks. Whether you're in the mood for steak, burgers, salad, seafood, or dessert, Harvey's on Noble will not disappoint, and the atmosphere is perfect for catching the big game or just relaxing after work. Harvey's is open for dinner Wednesday through Saturdays, so round up the family and we'll see you at Harvey's on Noble, downtown Silicaga.
There's a lot in life to smile about. Are loose dentures or missing teeth keeping you from enjoying the things you love? Don't miss out on enjoying life's precious moments. You can be you again with affordable mini dental implants. You can smile again, laugh out loud, and have your self-confidence back. Let us help you make it memorable.
I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
Getting it done the right way. Can a 10-minute oil change really get your car taken care of the right way? When you take your car to the shop for an oil change, wouldn't it be nice to know that it was inspected to make sure it's truly safe for your next 3,000 to 5,000 miles? Don't let 10 minutes cost you way more than time. Get your car taken care of the right way at Wright Tire and Service in Silicaga. Getting it done the right way.
We are just days away from the 2021 Super 7 State Football Championships at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. John Holder back with you on a Saturday morning, previewing classes 1A through 6A and those championship games that are coming up next week. Right now, we're going to talk Class 4A football, and the head coach of the South Alabama champions headed to Birmingham to play for the 4A state championship is Coach John McKenzie of the CF Viger Wolves of Pritchard in Mobile County. Coach McKenzie, good morning. Glad to have you with us here on WOTM.
Thank you guys for having me, John. It's definitely a pleasure to be here.
Coach McKenzie, your team in one of those rematch games. We had several rematches in the semifinals of a regular season matchup. You had the matchup coming up with Jackson. You win the game last night, 42-21, to propel your team into the state championship game in Class 4A. Take us through the game last night against the Jackson Aggies.
Well, again, it was a hard-fought game. We knew a little bit about them. We played them early in the year, and they was a formidable challenge for us. And we knew they had some talented athletes. And to me, they were similar to us. I thought we played a team that looked just like us, could play, got talented across the field, and they line play and they skill position. So it was going to be a challenge for us. But our kids, you know, they have really been focused in since December 7th of last year. One of the better things that we went through the experience of playing Hanley last year in the playoff, and it propelled us to work hard, to be prepared to go through our season, and you know, we're just glad the way they played last night, and a true discipline, character, and work ethic fashion.
Well, Coach McKenzie, I don't know if you've been called a prophet or not before, but you and I spoke with each other earlier in the season before your game with Faith Academy, and we talked about that Hanley game last year, and you said our football team is hungry. Our goal is to get to the state championship game. We believe that we can get to the state championship game this year, and lo and behold, we're sitting here now less than a week away from this Class 4A championship game, and here you are, the Viger Wolves playing in it, Coach. You hit the nail on the head back a couple of months ago.
Well, I guess that, and again, the Hanley game really showed me something. You know, me being in college football for 30 years, I didn't know the landscape of the high school game. And when we went, you know, last year was just a wait and see, the COVID-19 environment, the Zoom practices. And when we got to Hanley in the first round of the playoff, and we played them pretty good, I think, I don't remember the exact score, but I believe it was somewhere like 32-25. And Hanley beat us on the road. We was up there. And then they went on to blow out the next 3 or 4 opponents. And I'm saying, man, if we could have got over that hump against Hanley, we would have been potential state championship. So I knew what we had coming back. You know, I've always been an advocate of playing a lot of young players, and I knew they was going to gain experience. I tell any coach, experience is the best teacher. You know, you have to get them out there and give them some experience. So I knew what we had coming back. We was going to be a pretty good football team. We had a lot of talent in the right places. You know, we had it in our offensive line. We had it in our defensive line. We had it in our linebackers, defensive backs. We had it in our quarterback. We had it in our running backs. We got 3 great running backs. We had a great group of receivers. So we had the talent. And I said, you know, a school like Viger, you know, the only thing I could see, you know, from the outside looking in, we needed some discipline and we needed character. And you add talent to that, and this is what you get. You know, we play a game Friday at the new stadium, and we're looking forward to that opportunity.
Coach, folks around the state, they've heard about the talent that Viger has as they tune into this Class 4A state championship game. Tell us about some of the players that folks around the state can expect to see big things from out of this Viger Wolves team.
Well, I could name a lot of guys. You know, it started with our quarterback, Anthony Mix, Jr. He's just an exceptional talent. He's a great quarterback, a great leader. He never gets too high. He never gets too low. He controls our whole team. You know, he just don't control our offense. He controls our special teams, our defense. He controls everybody on our football team. He's really an extension of our coaching staff. You know, he's committed to the position. He knows what it takes. And I put a lot of pressure on him again in December. I told him, you know, we had 2 goals that we're going to hang our hat on the whole season. We want to beat our rival Blunt High School, our first football game, and we must win a championship on December the 3rd. And, you know, that's a lot of pressure. And, you know, if you play at Viger High School, the tradition and the legacy, that's what's expected. And for him to stand up to that and take on that challenge and get us here, you know, that's a testament to him and his family and the type of character and work ethic that kid have. And it exudes through our whole team. We got Michael Towner on defense. We got Abraham Daniels, who was an all-state selection last year on our defense, that really anchors our defense. Chris Agee, we moved him. We call him playoff Agee because every time Viger get in the playoff, he makes exceptional plays. He moved from a full-time receiver to a full-time defensive back over the summer and has excelled in that position for us. And then we got 3 offensive linemen that's senior, Kadeem McCray, Tim Bowler, Jordan Bush. They just been stalwarts up front and opened the paveway for a 10th grader, Ja'Cory Barnes, and another senior, Jermaine Coleman, who has really turned it up in the playoff and has done some exceptional things in our running back game. We got Brennan May, who's a senior that's a receiver that has been the electricity of our offense. Once we get Brennan May going, we seem to pick it up and go through and through. But again, we just got so many talented guys. Brandon Pure for a 10th grader that makes so many plays on defense. And then most of all, we got a 6'5", 326-pound offensive tackle that's only 14 years old that have already started 17 games for us. So again, experience is always your best teacher, and we just got a good group of guys that are looking forward to playing on December 3rd.
Coach, a good tradition, a great talented team, phenomenal coaching as well. You add those things up, you've got all 3 of those, and you wind up being the South Alabama champions, headed to the state championship game at Protective Stadium in Birmingham to take on the Aniana Redskins. Aniana knocked off #1 Madison Academy 28-24 last night. So Aniana and Viger for the Class 4A state championship game coming up on Friday morning at 11 a.m. at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. Coach, thank you so much for taking time to join us this morning to talk about Viger Wolves football here on WOTL.
I thank you guys for having me, John.
John McKenzie, head coach of the Viger Wolves. Viger, the South Alabama champions out of Class 4A, headed for the state championship game in Class 4A. We will be back with more of our Super 7 previews in just a moment.
I'm Roger, your in-house expert with Alabama Professional, and your questions keep pouring in to Ask Roger. Judy in Arndale asked, what services can APS provide? Alabama Professional offers basement waterproofing, foundation repair, humidity and mold control, and encapsulation of nasty crawl space. Since 1977, homeowners have entrusted APS to solve basement, foundation, and crawl space problems. Call for a free, no-obligation estimate today and keep those emails and questions coming.
The perfect checking account doesn't exist. Not at a bank, that is. So why do you keep looking there? At AmFirst, you can get no minimum balance or monthly fees, an instant issue debit card, and free checks with unlimited check writing. But who doesn't want more? Like a rewards program you'll actually use, and convenient digital tools that make it easy to manage your account from anywhere. Now you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
This holiday season, visit Festival of Lights, proudly brought to you by Alabama Power. Chocolaco Park in Oxford, Alabama is transformed into a winter wonderland and is the perfect way to get into the holiday spirit. Drive through the Twinkling Light Show, then stop and enter Santa's Village, sponsored by First Bank of Alabama, for delicious food, outdoor skating, and a visit with Santa. Come and see the wonder that is Festival of Lights. Open November 20th through December 24th, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. nightly. To get your tickets, visit oxfordlights.com.
All the coaches in Class 1A through 6A going to meet in this room very shortly at the AHSA offices in Montgomery to kind of set the table for the Super 7 state championships coming up next week at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. One of the coaches that will be there is the head coach of the Aniana Redskins out of Class 4A. They're the Class 4A North Alabama champions. Coach Phil Phillips joins us this morning. Coach, glad to have you with us live this morning on WOTM.
Well, John, it's great to be here. You know, anytime you're in Montgomery on a Saturday morning in November, it's a good thing. So just excited to have you.
Coach, let's talk about the game last night, the semifinal matchup. You traveled to Madison to face the Madison Academy team, who came in ranked number 1 in the state. You win the game 28-24. Great football game by all accounts as you win that game at Madison Academy. Tell us about the game last night. Kind of walk us through that.
Well, we got off to a really fast start, which has been the case the last several weeks. And in the first quarter, we was able to score a couple of touchdowns. Gave up one early in the second quarter, and then defensively, we kept them out of the end zone twice in the second quarter when they were in field position. We blocked a field goal. We forced a turnover. Was able to go in halftime up 14-7, and uncharacteristically, we came out in the third quarter kind of flat. They got after us. They slipped a couple of zone plays up there, and we missed a tackle. We lost a receiver on a route, and they got 17 points on us in the third quarter, which has just not been anything we've seen in quite a while. So probably since week 3 in Etowah. And but our kids just regrouped, refocused. We made a couple of adjustments right there in between quarters on what we were trying to do offensively. And our offensive line was able to take control in the fourth quarter, which we've seen the last couple of weeks. It took us a little longer because they're really, really good, and they fly around on defense, and we was able to control the ball in the fourth quarter.
Coach Phillips, you mentioned that Etowah game way back in September, early in the season in region play. You lost that football game, but you have not lost one since. This is a football team that has kind of flown under the radar. You probably like that, but it is a team that seems to be getting better every week. Just watching your football team, hearing about them, and seeing the scores coming in, it's one of those things where I told somebody this week, I said, you better look out for Aniana because they are getting better every week. Is that kind of a correct assumption there about improvement every week during this season?
Oh yeah, that's been key, and we talked about that after the loss. We talked about the bumps in the road and what you can learn from them, and we set a goal to make sure that we didn't make any of the mistakes that we made that week, and to get better every week. And really, we've overcome a few injuries. We had a couple of injuries. Who people missed a couple of weeks, and people stepped in and did their job and filled those roles for us. But yeah, and it's pleasing to see as a coach to see your kids get better every week and progress.
Coach, let's talk about some of the top players on the team for you this year. As folks tune into this Class 4A championship game coming up on Friday against Viger, who are some of the Redskins that folks need to look out for?
Well, defensively, and that's where it all begins for us. Defensively, we're led by our Mike linebacker, Luke Hodge. Luke's going to be signing with Troy here in a couple of weeks, and he has been a 4-year starter for us. He started at Will linebacker the last time we were in the semifinals in 18 when he was a freshman. So he gets everything going up front on defense. Will Robertson, the secondary guy, does a great job for us getting us in and out of the coverages we need to be in. And we rotate some linemen up front, Caden Cridner, Kobe Harper, Cameron Daly, Jacob Hanley, Braden Taylor. And then on the edge, we have to play most of our guys both ways. So 24 Fluff Bothwell plays the outside linebacker for us, runs the ball for us. And offensively, we're going to run the ball. Everybody knows we want to run the ball. We're led by our Colin Moon at running back, Braden Moore at quarterback, and then out on the edge we've got Jexton Johnson and Colin Swindle, who has done a great job for us this year. And a lot of those guys that we're talking about are seniors, and we kind of knew in 2018 we had to start 4 of those guys as freshmen in a semifinal game. So, you kind of know that if things go right and the injury bug stays away and the kids do what they're supposed to do, that 2021 had a chance to be a pretty special year.
Coach Phillips, it seems watching Aniana football throughout the years, for a lot of years, that Aniana has always been a program that plays its best football in the playoffs. We've seen this story before where Aniana just gets into the state playoffs and then they start playing their best football of the year. I think that's true again this year. What do you think that is about this Aniana program and playing your best football at the right time of the year?
Well, I think our tradition has a lot to do with it. Our kids expect to be a part of the mix when it comes to state playoff times, and we talk about it at the beginning of the year that our goal is we don't talk about winning state championship. We talk about hosting playoff games in the first round. We have played in the last 4 years. We played in 2 of the toughest regions in 4A, and we know each year that's going to be a battle in and of itself. So we want to host a playoff game, and then we want to go from there. And then we just want, we try to get our kids focused a lot on task at hand this week, taking care of this week, and they've done a good job. Our kids trust us, and I told them last night after the game. I've told several reporters the last couple of weeks they trust us, but we trust them too. We trust them to do what they're supposed to do, and in general. You can walk throughout our building and see all the names from the people in the past, and that's a little pressure on you, and it's probably good pressure. It motivates these kids to do the best they can do.
Coach, no team takes a backseat to Aniana when it comes to tradition. One of only 3 teams in state history to have won over 700 games. You got that this year. Just speak to folks around the state about that rich tradition that you alluded to of Aniana high school football.
Well, and you see it when you walk in our stadium. Our people have done a good job of recognizing what's gone on in the past and all of the people that's played before us. And you go in our building and you see it. And these kids grow up wanting to be a part of this. They grow up looking. I did it. I grew up in Aniana. I wanted to be one of those guys. And to be able to be one of those guys and to be able to coach those a bunch is just, it's just you really can't put it in words what that means. But our guys, they grow up hearing about it. They hear about it at church. They hear about it at home. They hear about it in town. They hear about it at school. And, it's just kind of a motivating thing for them to be a part of it, pave their own road, make their tradition. 20 years from now, have kids talk about them and see their names.
Coach, thank you so much. Best wishes to your football team as you make the short trip down Highway 75 to Protective Stadium to take on Viger in the Class 4A championship game. Thank you for the time this morning.
John, thank you.
Phil Phillips, head coach of the Aniana Redskins, the North Alabama champions out of Class 4A, headed for the 4A championship game next Friday at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. Back with more of our Super 7 show in just a moment.
Shop with confidence at King's Mattress Gallery. Newly stocked signature sectionals and recliners for any size room. Mega Motion and signature lift chairs. Sealy Hybrid Duo Chill mattresses for a cool night's sleep. Temper Ergo Smart bases that respond to snoring automatically. Visit King's Mattress Gallery today.
Family owned and operated since 1994.
Proudly serving in Sylacauga and surrounding areas.
This holiday season, visit Festival of Lights, proudly brought to you by Alabama Power. Chocolaco Park in Oxford, Alabama is transformed into a winter wonderland and is the perfect way to get into the holiday spirit. Drive through the Twinkling Light Show, then stop and enter Santa's Village, sponsored by First Bank of Alabama, for delicious food, outdoor skating, and a visit with Santa. Come and see the wonder that is Festival of Lights. Open November 20th through December 24th, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. nightly. To get your tickets, visit oxfordlights.com.
I'm Roger, your in-house expert with Alabama Professional, and your questions keep pouring in to Ask Roger. Stan in Mountain Brook asked, our basement is damp, musty, and humid. Can APS help? Stan, almost half of the air you breathe comes from your basement. A wet or damp basement worsens allergies and damages valuables. We'll transform your basement into a dry, usable space and improve the air quality of your home. Call for a free, no-obligation estimate today and keep those emails and questions coming.
Every bank has their own app, but it's just that, theirs, not yours. At AmFirst, our app was made for you. So it's easy to pay bills, deposit checks, or transfer money to friends and family from anywhere. It's even customizable, which means you can personalize your dashboard, create usage alerts, and redeem points for rewards you'll love. And you can do it all on your own time. So what are you waiting for? Get the app made for you at AmFirst.
The excitement is building for the AHSAA Super 7 State Football Championships coming up Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. Coaches are meeting this morning at the AHSAA offices in Montgomery, and we are here to preview those championship games. Right now, we're going to transition over to Class 2A football. The Class 2A state championship game is going to be a battle between Clark County and Cleveland, two teams that have never been in a state championship game before. Right now, the South Alabama champions, the head coach of the Clark County Bulldogs, Coach Stacy Luker, joins us at this time. Coach, good morning. Glad to have you with us here once again on WOTO.
Good morning, man. How's it going?
Coach Luker, your football team last night kind of hosted the team that was really dangerous, this Highland Home Flying Squadron team. Folks may not, because of their regular season record, had taken them seriously, but they had knocked off a lot of good football teams along the way as they came into Grove Hill last night. You win the game 42-21 over the Flying Squadron. Take us through the game last night with Highland Home.
Well, I mean, you know, John, they had gotten on such a roll. They had won 6 in a row, and just very athletic football team, and really, you know, could stretch us as a defense, and they played very physical. You know, the first half, I think it was 21-13 at the half. We had hit a touchdown pass right before half, and it had really been a battle. Then they tied it up on the opening drive, and we were able to, you know, put 3 touchdowns up in the second half to sort of pull away. Felt like we wore on them a little bit in the second half, but yeah, man, they really, you know, made a run at the end, and wasn't no mistake that they were there in the semifinals for sure. Coach Pouncey had done a great job with his kids this year, just sort of, you know, turning things around for them and righting their ship and getting them where they were.
Coach Luker, tell us about some of the key players for your football team as folks get ready for this Class 2A championship game against the Cleveland Panthers. From the Clark County perspective, who are some guys that folks need to be looking out for in that 2A championship game?
Well, I mean, it's you know, we're an experienced group, 18 seniors. Kids have been with us 3 and 4 years and have started for that long. You know, some of the main ones probably are some of our running backs, Ron Johnson and Jerwayne Robinson, A.J. Ezel, and Jarian Jackson have sort of shared the ball all year long, and Pace Young at quarterback, he's a junior that's had a really strong year. Defensively, some of the same names, Jerwayne and Jarian, but Ben Shears has really made an impact for us defensively from the D-line position. And Mar Johnson from defensive back has had a tremendous year, really there, and receiver, just making plays, just a big, long, tall, athletic kid that, with pretty good ball skills. And man, John, again, it's hard to name. It's hard to name all the kids that have impacted our team and made a contribution, not just this year, over the last 2 or 3 years. Just a really, really good group of kids.
Coach Luker, we had you on the AHSA Weekly Show a couple weeks ago previewing your game with B.B. Comer in the playoffs. One of the things we talked about was the rich tradition of football in your part of the state. I call it the Highway 43 corridor down there. And Clark County, this is the first time that Clark County High School has been in the state championship game. And I saw a quote from you talking about how there was pressure because Leroy, Southern Choctaw, Jackson, Thomasville, Linden, Sweetwater, on and on, those teams down there had all been to Super Sevens, but Clark County hadn't been. So now it's the Bulldogs' chance to go to Birmingham. I would imagine, Coach, the folks in Grove Hill have just got to be out of their minds excited about now the Bulldogs' chance to go to the Super 7.
Yeah, they really are. We've had tremendous support. It's just so good for our community and our school and those people there that have, just hadn't had this shot because, again, you just named them, man. We've been surrounded down there, and I've been part of a couple of those programs by so many good football programs that have won state championships or played for them and made deep runs. And Clark County really hasn't done that. I think we had one semifinal appearance before this year and a couple of quarterfinal appearances. So not just a deep, rich tradition as far as playoff teams, but I have always had pretty good players and pretty good athletes. And I think just always been in those tough 3 and 4A regions down through there, and they've struggled just getting out of region some years. But I do think that sort of to play off that, one of the biggest times or things that's happened to our program there is dropping 2 classes, going from 4A to 2A, and really sort of getting where we belong, I think, with our kids and what we have there. So, yeah, man, just a lot of excitement right now, and it should be, man. It's Super 7, everybody don't make it this far, and so it's really something to be proud of.
Coach Luker, you are one of the more successful coaches in the state of Alabama. 5 state championships up the road there at Sweetwater, who ironically, they'll be in the Super 7 as well this year. You know what it takes to win a state championship, obviously. In your mind, from the head coach perspective, what's it take to win a state championship? I know a lot of things have to fall into place to do that.
You got to be lucky. You got to be as much lucky as you are good, and injury-free, or you can't have the key guys get hurt. But, I think the most important thing is just having a bond and being a good team. I tell our kids all the time, and I told them this at Sweetwater for years, the most talented football players aren't going to win state championships. The team that's bonded together the best and love each other and very unselfish and are accountable to everything about the football team and heck, school, man, everything around them. I think the guys that's able to sell out and do that and form the best team stands the best chance of winning. And I bet you, if you look at the 14 teams that are playing here this year, that's what you've got. You've got that special bond within the kids and the coaches. And again, it's what Stacey Luker believes. I think that's what it takes to win championships and to be able to play for them.
Coach, before we let you get out of here, first, congratulations on going to the state championship game, but a personal congratulations. Last week, you were named and honored to be selected into the Alabama High School Athletic Association Hall of Fame coming up in the spring.
Yes, sir.
Well-deserved honor. Coach, congratulations on that and your team playing in the Super 7, and thank you for taking some time to join us this morning here on WOTM.
Thank you, John. I'm just going to say it's been a very humbling week for me. I will say that.
Stacy Luker, head coach of the Clark County Bulldogs, headed to the Class 2A state championship game coming up next Friday at Protective Stadium in Birmingham against the Cleveland Panthers. We'll continue here with our Super 7 preview on WOTO.
I was in a car accident. My front tooth cracked. That definitely embarrassed a smile. I got mini dental implants. It changed my life because it made me feel like me. Like I can smile and feel like Ashley. I just want to say thank you.
You can be you again with mini dental implants. I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
I'm more than happy. I'm ecstatic.
Have you seen foam lift concrete? Watch it raise the sidewalk. The poly-level system raises building floors, levels driveways, raises steps. Amazing, isn't it? APS Foundation.
This holiday season, visit Festival of Lights, proudly brought to you by Alabama Power. Chocolaco Park in Oxford, Alabama is transformed into a winter wonderland and is the perfect way to get into the holiday spirit. Drive through the Twinkling Light Show, then stop and enter Santa's Village, sponsored by First Bank of Alabama, for delicious food, outdoor skating, and a visit with Santa. Come and see the wonder that is Festival of Lights. Open November 20th through December 24th, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. nightly. To get your tickets, visit oxfordlights.com.
Shop with confidence at King's Mattress Gallery. Newly stocked signature sectionals and recliners for any size room. Mega motion and signature lift chairs. Sealy hybrid duo chill mattresses for a cool night's sleep. Temper Ergo smart bases that respond to snoring automatically. Visit King's Mattress Gallery today.
Family owned and operated since 1994.
Proudly serving in Sylacauga and surrounding areas.
State championship coaches from all over the state of Alabama gathering in to the Alabama High School Athletic Association offices in Montgomery this morning to kind of get all the things set for the AHSAA Super 7 championships at Protective Stadium in Birmingham next week. All those games live on WOTM, and we are previewing those state championship games. We continue in Class 2A now. The North Alabama champions from Class 2A, the Cleveland Panthers from Blount County. Gardner Gilliland's the head coach. Coach, good morning. Glad to have you with us here this morning live on WOTM.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
I know it is, Coach. Coach, a great game last night there at Dixon Stadium in Cleveland. You had Mars Hill Bible. They won a 1A championship, moved up to 2A, win the 2A state championship. They're the defending state champions coming into your place. Just an outstanding performance by your football team to beat Mars Hill Bible last night, 21-13. Take us through the game last night. Obviously, the biggest night so far, I think, in Cleveland high school history as far as football goes.
It was, and you know, we've tried to set our goals to, of course, not knowing, you know, that we would end up in this game, but, you know, our goals began at the year to host playoff games, and then first round we were able to do that, and then we go to midfield and win, and then we catch Southeastern back at home in the third round, which the third round's the farthest, you know, that Cleveland had ever made it in school history and had never made it out of the third round. And then we were able to win that one. So our goals have kind of changed as the years gone by. And, you know, going into the Mars Hill game, you know, we've tried to sell our kids last week on the fact that, you know, it's going to be hard to out-coach those guys. They don't make many mistakes. They're going to be in the right place. You just have to count on outplaying them. And we were down 14-13 at the half, and then we came out in the third quarter and got a score and a 2-point conversion to go up 21-14. And you know, both teams threatened. We threatened offensively. They threatened offensively at times. You know, through the end of the third and into the fourth quarter. And we were able to get the ball back in the fourth with probably about 5 minutes left to go in the game. And we were able to grind out 3 first downs and make them use up all their timeouts, and then we were able to take a knee for the last series, and I don't think I ever really relaxed until I saw the last second tick off the clock.
Coach Gillen, this is outstanding performance by your team last night, and this season has been a special season, obviously, for Cleveland. Tell us about maybe some of the top leaders for this Cleveland Panther football team here in 2021.
Well, offensively, of course, it starts with our quarterback, Logan Washburn. Going into the semifinal game, he had rushing and passing. He had accounted for 54 touchdowns going into the game. Our running back, Tyler Smith, has, he had right at 1,400 yards rushing going into the semis. I don't know what the updated stats are. I haven't looked at them from last night. And then my youngest son, Pierce Gillen, he's right around 92, 93 receptions for around 1,400 yards. And then defensively, you'd have to say that we're led by one of our linebackers, Carter Adams, who had 165 tackles going into the semifinal game. And we've really been fortunate, and it's hard to put together at a 2A school, but our offensive and defensive lines play one way. And I think that was one of the big things for us last night. I think sometime late third quarter into the fourth quarter, I think that that started to wear on Mars Hill a little bit, and I think it made a big difference on us being able to play those guys one way.
Coach Gillen, you play a tough schedule. It begins in your region there in Class 2A Region 6. How did playing teams like you mentioned Southeastern, teams like Sandrock, Spring Garden, Westbrook, things like that, in addition to your non-region games, which a lot of those are Blount County teams. We'll talk about that in a moment. But how did that tough schedule help you once playoff time came around?
I think it helped tremendously, and we knew the region was good going into the season. We didn't really know how good it was. When in the quarterfinals, 3 of the 4 teams that were left in the quarterfinals were from our region. So, that kind of opened our eyes to how good our region actually is, and I think that played a huge role in us having success in the playoffs. Is that we were kind of battle tested going into the playoffs.
Blount County football. Aniana, 8 miles down the road, down 231. Aniana is going to the Super 7. You're going to the Super 7. You take all these 400 or so schools that play football in the state, only a handful make it to the state championship, 2 of those 8 miles apart. And I know you're good friends with Phil Phillips down at Aniana. Tell us about the excitement, and folks that may not be familiar with Blount County football, pretty tough, Coach.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like, we opened our season with Aniana, and that was actually our only loss on the field this year, was to them in the opener. And Coach Phillips and I have ridden down each one of the 3 playoff meetings together, and he's a good friend of mine. He and I work together at Aniana, and I don't think there'll be many people left in Blount County Friday. I think most of Blount County will show up to Birmingham, to Protective Stadium for the state championships. And there's just a buzz. There's a buzz around the county. There's really a huge buzz in Cleveland right now. Last night after the game, it probably took an hour and a half to get the stadium cleared out. There were people still out there taking pictures, and our community and our school has really gotten behind this football team, and we've had absolutely great support from not only our school but from the entire county throughout the playoffs. So we feel very fortunate.
That scene last night in Cleveland, hour and a half after the game, the community staying on the field as their team gets ready to go to the state championship. Coach, that's what high school football in Alabama is all about. Congratulations to your football team. Best wishes as you take on Clark County at Protective Stadium in Birmingham next Friday.
Thank you so much.
Gardner Gillen, head coach of the Cleveland Panthers, will continue previewing the Super 7 championships live this morning here on WOTL.
I'm Roger, your in-house expert with Alabama Professional, and your questions keep pouring in to Ask Roger. Judy in Arndale asked, what services can APS provide? Alabama Professional offers basement waterproofing, foundation repair, humidity and mold control, and encapsulation of nasty crawl space. Since 1977, homeowners have entrusted APS to solve basement, foundation, and crawl space problems. Call for a free, no-obligation estimate today and keep those emails and questions coming.
Sylacauga's best kept secret? No more. Harvey's on Noble is the place to go for the area's best food and drinks. Whether you're in the mood for steak, burgers, salad, seafood, or dessert, Harvey's on Noble will not disappoint, and the atmosphere is perfect for catching the big game or just relaxing after work. Harvey's is open for dinner Wednesday through Saturdays, so round up the family and we'll see you at Harvey's on Noble, downtown Sylacauga.
There's a lot in life to smile about. Are loose dentures or missing teeth keeping you from enjoying the things you love? Don't miss out on enjoying life's precious moments. You can be you again with affordable mini dental implants. You can smile again, laugh out loud, and have your self-confidence back. Let us help you make it memorable.
I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
We started the season, 11 weeks of regular season, 4 rounds of playoffs, and now we're down to the Super 7 championships in the Alabama High School Athletic Association. John Holder back with you live on WOTM this morning as we are continuing to preview those Super 7 state championship football games. Coming up, the 5A championship game will be Thursday night at 7 prime time here on WOTM. Number 1 ranked Pike Road undefeated, taking on the Pleasant Grove Spartans, making their 3rd consecutive appearance in the 5A championship game. This is a game that everybody, I think, has been potentially looking forward to since the summertime. And right now, we're going to take you to the AHSA offices in Montgomery to speak with the head coach of the Pike Road Patriots, Coach Patrick Browning. Coach, good morning. Glad to have you with us again here on WOTM.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Coach, just a tremendous football team that you have put together down at Pike Road, and a very impressive performance last night in the semifinals in that South Alabama championship game against Andalusia at your place. You had beaten Andalusia 28-14 in the regular season in a region game. They say it's hard to beat a team twice, but you actually exceeded that. 33-0, you beat the Bulldogs last night. Take us through the game with Andalusia at your place last night.
Yeah, this has definitely been a collective effort. You know, we're going into the 4th varsity year. We have great community support, great parent support, great administration support, and our kids have bought into what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. You know, we've got a great coaching staff that understands our vision and understands how to execute what we're trying to get accomplished. Again, our kids have just worked extremely hard to get to this point over the past 6 years that I've been at Pike Road when we started the program. And I couldn't be more proud of this group. They love each other. They've come together as a family. And, you know, to answer your question about the Andalusia game, I think it's just a testament to what we preach each week, to just try to get a little bit better at what we're doing. And if we believe in that, we believe practice is important, and we're trying to every day get better in practice and get better in the weight room and better in the classroom and better at home and just be better people. The final score is going to take care of itself. So, you know, we never really look at the opponents in a way that it's more so about us and about us getting prepared the right way and accomplishing our personal goals. And obviously, you know, schemes matter, and we look at the opponents to put our kids in the best position possible. But at the end of the day, they have to go out and execute and believe in what we're doing. And that's what these players are doing right now.
Coach Browning, I think we're seeing some history made. It is amazing what has happened. Most people ask me around the state, where is Pike Road? Where did this team come from? You mentioned only the 4th year of varsity football. You made a jump in the reclassification from 3A to 5A, and you have been seeing phenomenal success. Folks that are not familiar with the Pike Road community, the Pike Road program, tell folks the uniqueness of this, because again, I think history is going to paint a very bright picture of what has happened in the last 4 years at Pike Road.
Yeah, it just goes back to consistency and having everyone being on the same page and having a vision. And when I first got here, the attractive part was, Pike Road's in Montgomery County, but it's its own city, and it's its own town, and everyone that lives in Pike Road loves Pike Road. And the community, they've been nothing but phenomenal. Our town council, our mayor, superintendent, our board, teachers, everybody's just in full support since I've gotten here. And going back to consistency, we've been doing the same base things on offense, on defense, special teams, in the weight room, going on 6 years. This class that are seniors, I inherited them when they were in 7th grade, and it was such a unique situation that, we were just middle school when I first got here, and these seniors, were part of that 7th grade class that we first inherited. So, I've had the privilege to coach a lot of these guys for going on 6 years, and it's been a fun ride, and we're looking forward to playing the state championship next Thursday. But again, this is not a one-person job. This has been a collective effort over the years here just to reach this point. There's been a lot of hard work put in by a lot of people. So just want everyone to have credit where credit's due.
Coach Browning, watching video of your team, very impressive, very talented team. As folks tune in prime time Thursday night to this 5A state championship game coming up with Pleasant Grove, who are some of the standout players that folks can expect to see for Pike Road?
Yeah, Quinshawn Juckins, he's our running back, committed to Ole Miss. Curtis Perry, uncommitted defensive lineman. Iverson Hooks plays quarterback and safety. He's currently uncommitted. Those are three that can stand out in the senior class. And in juniors, we have Jalen Jarrett, Brennan Jordan, Vyson Lang. Those are just to name off a few. But everyone wants to talk about the marquee players, but we have such a team and a family that no one cares about individual stats. No one cares about single accolades. That everyone has one goal and one mission, and that's to be in the game we're in, and to hopefully have an opportunity to compete against a great Pleasant Grove team. Coach Lebeau has done an amazing job there, and there's a reason they've been in the state championship now 3 years in a row. So we're looking forward to the competition, and we're looking forward to hopefully it's a great game.
Coach, you grew up in another important place where football is very important, and you've had some great mentors through the years. Just tell folks about your background and the place that you grew up, because football is really important there, and it looks like that you have kind of brought a lot of that culture to Pike Road.
Yeah, I was fortunate to play for Coach Horn. I'm from Clay County. He's a legend in itself. I've tried leaning on him as much as possible, throughout the playoffs, just to get any advice. He was one of the first people I texted last night after the game just to try to pick his brain, because he's arguably the best in the state to ever have done it. And Clay County, my old high school is no longer there. It's now a newly formed Clay Central, but that's a special place. It's another place that everybody's a family and everybody wants to help each other. And I've tried bringing a lot of those core values that I've learned to Pike Road, while at the same time putting our own twist on things, because every place is unique and every place is different. But I think that we've accomplished some really good things in the short amount of time that we've had the opportunity to at Pike Road. And I've really been astonished by the support and just seeing everyone grow each year throughout the entire process, not just the football program, but the school system itself. We're going on 3 schools in 3 years. We just had a tax passed that's going to end up building a brand new high school, and that just is a testament to how fast we're growing. So it's been a fun ride to watch.
Coach, thank you so much. Best wishes to you and your football team. Congratulations on the win last night against Andalusia, and best wishes to your team as you make your way to Birmingham for the Class 5A state championship game.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Patrick Browning is the head coach of the Pike Road Patriots, headed for the 5A championship game Thursday night at 7 on prime time here on WOTM against Pleasant Grove.
I was in a car accident. My front tooth cracked. I'm definitely embarrassed to smile. I got mini dental implants. It changed my life because it made me feel like me. Like I can smile and feel like Ashley. I just want to say thank you.
You can be you again with mini dental implants. I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
I'm more than happy. I'm ecstatic.
I'm Roger, your in-house expert with Alabama Professional, and your questions keep pouring in to Ask Roger. Judy in Arndale asked, what services can APS provide? Alabama Professional offers basement waterproofing, foundation repair, humidity and mold control, and encapsulation of nasty crawl spaces. Since 1977, homeowners have entrusted APS to solve basement, foundation, and crawl space problems. Call for a free, no-obligation estimate today and keep those emails and questions coming.
The perfect checking account doesn't exist. Not at a bank, that is. So why do you keep looking there? At AmFirst, you can get no minimum balance or monthly fees, an instant issue debit card, and free checks with unlimited check writing. But who doesn't want more? Like a rewards program you'll actually use, and convenient digital tools that make it easy to manage your account from anywhere. Now you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
No state in the United States does the high school football championships like the Alabama High School Athletic Association, and the AHSAA Super 7 getting ready to roll once again into a new venue this year in Birmingham at Protective Stadium next week. John Holder back with you. We're going to preview now, continuing the Class 5A championship game between Pike Road and Pleasant Grove. Joined now by the head coach of the Pleasant Grove Spartans, Coach Daryl Lebeau, from the AHSA offices in Montgomery. Coach Lebeau, thank you for joining us once again here on WOTM.
Thank you for having me.
Coach, last night playing at home, Fairview Aggies came into town. You win the game handily, 47-17, to return to the state championship game once again. Tell us about the game last night with Fairview.
Definitely an exciting game. Fairview, Coach Redden does an awesome job and has done an awesome job with that program. And they came in, we knew it was going to be a physical football game, and it wasn't nothing short but that. And my hats off to the Fairview football team and also that community. At 5:30, they had it packed out already. So it was exciting to have an opportunity to play in the semifinals game again, and to come out on the other side of come on the side of the win column is always a blessing. And I'm always grateful to have that opportunity to be even a coaching on Fridays and have an opportunity to coach in the semifinals game. You got guys that coach, 20, 30 years and never get an opportunity to coach in the semifinals game. So it's definitely a blessing, and I definitely want to give God the glory for all that He's done for me so far.
Coach, this Pleasant Grove program has established itself obviously as one of the top programs in the state of Alabama, really in any classification, certainly in Class 5A. As testimony to that, this will be your third consecutive trip to the Super 7 championships. You're trying to win your first state championship in school history. Tell us about how hungry this football team is at this point in time.
I think after, last night after the awards was given for runner-up and the winner of the North, you could kind of see the kids like, all right, Coach, let's move on. Let's figure out the practice schedule for next week and, what's the plans for next week. So to see the kids respond like that, the coaching staff respond like that, it kind of shows me that everybody is not finished yet. Everybody, still locked in and want to go to play Thursday and have an opportunity to win this football game against a really good football team. So it's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of manpower to try to get this thing figured out and get it done.
Well, you've played at Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn. You've played at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. Now a new venue, Protective Stadium in downtown Birmingham at Uptown, home of the UAB Blazers. How excited is your football team to play in this new stadium and really close to home, Pleasant Grove right there in West Jefferson County, so just a few miles up the interstate to Protective Stadium. I'm sure you'll have a huge crowd there for this 5A championship game. What's the excitement and the buzz like being able to play this game there in Birmingham?
It's definitely exciting. When you get a chance to pass by, downtown Birmingham and get to see the beautiful stadium off the interstate. And I had the opportunity to go and take a couple of kids to the UAB game this year, and it's beautiful. And for it to be back in Birmingham in a central location is awesome. I'm praying that the fans come out and support these young men. They definitely deserve it. But not only that, but just to come out and come and see some quality football. And the association does, a top-notch job with putting on the state championships every year. So, but the kids are definitely excited. They get to play in front of some folks that never got a chance to see them play. Everybody's not able to travel, certain places, and we're 15 minutes down the road. So I think the kids are definitely excited about that and looking forward to it.
Coach Lebeau, this is, again, a very talented Pleasant Grove team. Tell us about some of the top players that folks can look forward to seeing on the field there at Protective Stadium on Thursday night.
We have DeMarcus Lacey, which he went for 2,000 yards rushing last night. I think that's the second or third back to go over 2,000 yards in school history. Also on the offensive end, we have Alex Young playing quarterback, Cameron Harris, Tadarius Parker, Bray Coleman, and up front we have Malachi Carney, Nez Cooper, and Eric Turner. My seniors up front that's kind of leading the way. And defensively, we have Deshaun Love up front and Braden Woods. And at linebacker, we have B.J. Jordan and Aiden Hall. And on the back end, we have you got Cam Wormley and you have Markel Jordan and you have Ryan Madison. So it's a collective group. I think this group may not be overall as talented as some of the teams we had the past couple of years, but this group is unique and they're different, and I'm excited about them.
We mentioned how the state of Alabama and the Alabama High School Athletic Association does such a great job in hosting this state championship football event. With that, there are a lot of things to make it special that are not normal that a high school coaching program doesn't have to deal with on a normal regular season game. There are a lot of things going on. How does the experience, Coach, of you having been a part of the Super 7 experience, which is so great, how does that help you to manage maybe some of these things that are not normal in a state championship game week?
I think it's the time management aspect of it. You can kind of get caught up with trying to get everything situated, want to do everything. The biggest thing is allowing other folks to help you so you can concentrate on the football aspect of it. For us, it's a quick turnaround. We play Thursday, so being able to put things into place, understanding what we need to do and how we need to do different things and how to make those things happen. I'm definitely appreciative of my principal at Pleasant Grove and assistant AD. They do an awesome job with making sure that I can lock in on the football aspect of it and they take care of the rest. So that's the biggest takeaway from it is the time management and knowing and what to do and try to stop from doing some other things that kind of put you in a situation where you get away from the football aspect of it.
Coach Lebeau, you've put together obviously another fantastic football team again in 2021 at Pleasant Grove. Congratulations on the win last night against Fairview. Best wishes to you and your football team as you make the short trip up Interstate 5920 to downtown Birmingham to take on Pike Road in the 5A championship game on Thursday night. Thank you for the time this morning here on WOTO.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Daryl Lebeau, head coach of the Pleasant Grove Spartans. A big showdown coming up with Pike Road at Protective Stadium Thursday night for the Class 5A state championship. We'll continue to preview the Super 7 championships live here on WOTO.
This holiday season, visit Festival of Lights, proudly brought to you by Alabama Power. Chocolaco Park in Oxford, Alabama is transformed into a winter wonderland and is the perfect way to get into the holiday spirit. Drive through the Twinkling Light Show, then stop and enter Santa's Village, sponsored by First Bank of Alabama, for delicious food, outdoor skating, and a visit with Santa. Come and see the wonder that is Festival of Lights. Open November 20th through December 24th, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. nightly. To get your tickets, visit oxfordlights.com.
Sylacauga's best kept secret? No more. Harvey's on Noble is the place to go for the area's best food and drinks. Whether you're in the mood for steak, burgers, salad, seafood, or dessert, Harvey's on Noble will not disappoint, and the atmosphere is perfect for catching the big game or just relaxing after work. Harvey's is open for dinner Wednesday through Saturdays, so round up the family and we'll see you at Harvey's on Noble, downtown Sylacauga.
There's a lot in life to smile about. Are loose dentures or missing teeth keeping you from enjoying the things you love? Don't miss out on enjoying life's precious moments. You can be you again with affordable mini dental implants. You can smile again, laugh out loud, and have your self-confidence back. Let us help you make it memorable.
I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
Well, all the head football coaches in classes 1A through 6A meeting at the AHSA offices this morning in Montgomery to kind of set the table for the Super 7 championships coming up next week at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. John Holder back with you on WOTM. We're going to preview Class 6A now. Friday at 7 p.m. it will be an all Jefferson County matchup between Hueytown and Clay Chalkville. Right now we've got the head coach of the Hueytown Golden Gophers. Coach Greg Patterson joins us now from the AHSA offices in Montgomery. Coach, good morning. Glad to have you with us live here on WOTM.
Good morning, John. I appreciate you having me.
Coach, let's talk about the game last night. We'll talk about this a little bit more in depth, but a lot of times in the semifinals, you're playing somebody from far away that you're not familiar with. That was not the case last night in your game with Hillcrest of Tuscaloosa. This was a rematch of a regular season game, being in the same region and so forth. Tell us about the game last night and how it unfolded in a victory for your football team against Hillcrest.
Yes, last night, we got off to a rough start, fumbling the opening kickoff. I think we wound up punting on our next two possessions as well. Hillcrest had a really good plan against us defensively to stop our offense, and it just took us a little while to get going. But, our defense stood up, held them out of the end zone for only one score, and we were just able to methodically finally get back on track and come out with a victory.
Your team wins the game over Hillcrest 44-16. And Coach, I want to go back and talk about this because, again, semifinals and finals, it's very rare that a team is playing teams that you're really familiar with. You've played both of these teams, Hillcrest, Tuscaloosa, now coming up with Clay Chalkville in the state championship game. The familiarity that you have with both of these teams, both in the semifinals and the finals, that is something that we just don't see very often, but that's the kind of the way it worked out this year.
Yeah, Coach Mitchell at Hillcrest did a really good job with those guys. They got better as the year went on, and as the bracket started unfolding, us as a coaching staff really kind of circled that we thought we might see them again. And, we had a really strange night the night we played in Hillcrest with almost a 2-hour lightning delay and, a lot of bad field conditions and everything else on that night. And, just having the familiarity of those guys and knowing what they do, and by the time you get to this time of the season, all of us are kind of who we are. Not going to say it makes preparation easier, but you kind of know what to expect, and your kids know a little bit about their kids and so forth. So, there's just nose to the grindstone kind of thing to prepare. And, the same thing with Clay. We played them really early. Didn't have the best start in that game either, and Coach Gilmer and his crew does such a great job with those guys, and they're super athletic. Me and Coach have become friends over the last couple of years, and when called wanted to put them on the schedule, I told him, I said, we've got to play somebody of y'all's caliber if we ever want to have a chance to know how to get to a championship game, and that's kind of played out here. I don't know that either one of us are the same teams as we were back on week 2 or 3 when we played, but as soon as I get a chance to watch film, we'll find that out.
Coach Patterson, this Hueytown team has been just off the charts impressive, especially on the offensive side of the football, averaging at one point in time this year 55 points a game. You're still averaging over 50 points a game. Tell us about some of the top guys to look out for that make this Golden Gopher offense go. And then you mentioned the defense with an outstanding game last night against Hillcrest Tuscaloosa. And tell us about maybe some of the top guys on that side of the ball as well.
Sure. We have a wide receiver, DeAndre Coleman, number 10, has really been our go-to playmaker on the offensive side of the ball. Our quarterback, Earl Woods, is a junior. that joined us this year. And if I remember right, you know, the rough stats last night, he's 23 or 2,400 yards passing and went over 2,000 yards rushing last night. We also have another wide receiver, Vincent Tucker, was a baseball player that we talked into coming out this year that has had some really big plays for us in critical situations, just like last night. And then a sophomore running back in Jaquel Rouser that has really started coming into his own. He's grown up a lot. Just to be a sophomore, we depend on him pretty heavily. And then I've got one senior O-lineman, Jordan Tannehill, on the offensive side of the ball that kind of leads that crew up front. And defensively, it really kind of lies in our linebackers and our safeties. We got Evan Brown, Ty Bailey, Stevens Hicks all play a linebacker position for us. And then Jaden Thomas plays a kind of a hybrid strong safety outside backer for us. Then, you know, those guys are all seniors and lead on the defensive side of the ball and have really taken on a challenge about midway through the season when we gave up 55 points to Northridge. Those guys really challenged themselves and got in a room and made a pact with each other. They were going to find a way to get better, and they've really, down the stretch here in the playoff games, have really played some high-caliber defense, and I think we're averaging a little bit under 20 points a game in the playoffs.
Coach Patterson, you mentioned just a few moments ago that in this last scheduling cycle, this last 2-year cycle, you wanted to play a team the caliber of Clay Chalkville. You played them the last couple of years, now the rematch with them in a state championship game coming up. Talk about the challenges that this Clay Chalkville team presents to you.
Just overall athleticism, the speed on the field with them is incredible, you know, and, you know, really glad that we got to see that, you know, up close and personal. You don't always get that, the feel for that, or your kids don't get the feel for that when you're watching film. But that's the one thing that impressed me the most about Coach Gilmer's team when we played them earlier in the year is just the speed at every position on the field. And that's just one of those things, you know, the cliche is you can't coach speed, and it's a killer, and it is. And, you know, that was an advantage for them in that first game that we played them. And we've just got to find a way to do a better job of lining up, play assignment football, and try to limit their big plays.
Coach Patterson, history being made, great football program that you have developed there at Hueytown. Explosive offense, should be a great Class 6A championship game. Thank you for spending time with us here this morning on WOTM.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Greg Patterson, head coach of the Hueytown Golden Gophers, the South Alabama champions out of Class 6A, headed for the 6A championship game, an all Jefferson County matchup with the Clay Chalkville Cougars coming up next Friday night at 7, live here on WOTM from Protective Stadium in Birmingham.
Can a 10-minute oil change really get your car taken care of the right way? When you take your car to the shop for an oil change, wouldn't it be nice to know that it was inspected to make sure it's truly safe for your next 3,000 to 5,000 miles? Don't let 10 minutes cost you way more than time. Get your car taken care of the right way at Wright Tire and Service in Sylacauga.
Getting it done the right way.
I'm Roger, your in-house expert with Alabama Professional, and your questions keep pouring in to Ask Roger. Judy in Arndale asked, what services can APS provide? Alabama Professional offers basement waterproofing, foundation repair, humidity and mold control, and encapsulation of nasty crawl spaces. Since 1977, homeowners have entrusted APS to solve basement, foundation, and crawl space problems. Call for a free, no-obligation estimate today and keep those emails and questions coming.
This holiday season, visit Festival of Lights, proudly brought to you by Alabama Power. Chocolaco Park in Oxford, Alabama is transformed into a winter wonderland and is the perfect way to get into the holiday spirit. Drive through the Twinkling Light Show, then stop and enter Santa's Village, sponsored by First Bank of Alabama, for delicious food, outdoor skating, and a visit with Santa. Come and see the wonder that is Festival of Lights. Open November 20th through December 24th, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. nightly. To get your tickets, visit oxfordlights.com.
We are gearing up for the last week of high school football in the state of Alabama, and the last week of high school football means 7 state champions will be crowned. Plus, this year, a girls flag football state champion will be crowned as well. 8 games in total coming up that will be taking place at Protective Stadium in Birmingham beginning Wednesday, running all the way through Friday, and it will be capped off. The last high school football game of the 2021 season will be next Friday night at 7 p.m., the Class 6A championship game. And being in Birmingham, I guess only fitting that we would have an all Jefferson County matchup as the Hueytown Golden Gophers take on the Clay Chalkville Cougars. Head coach of Clay Chalkville, Coach Drew Gilmer, joins us at this time. The North Alabama champions out of Class 6A. Big win last night. Coach, congratulations and welcome in, and glad to have you with us here on WOTM once again.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Coach Gilmer, we talked last week in previewing the game that folks saw right here around the state last night, the 6A semifinal game between you and Mountain Brook down at Spartan Stadium at Mountain Brook, and it lived up to the expectations. Your team goes in and beats a very good Mountain Brook team 24-18. Take us through the game last night. Very exciting, great Class 6A football game.
Yeah, it was exactly what we thought it was going to be, man. It's 2 really good football teams going against each other. Mountain Brook and Coach Yeager, he does a great job with that team, and you know what you're going to get when you go play over there. It's a tough place to go play, and they're going to be very well coached up, and very proud of our guys the way they went over there, and we overcame some adversity early, and they found a way to win the game at the end, and they just showed that they're not going to quit and they're going to fight, and so it's a special team. It's a big win for us last night.
Coach Gilmer, we talked with Coach Patterson at Hueytown just before you came on the set, talking about it's really rare in this day and time, as big as the state is, to have the semifinals and finals, to have 2 teams close by that you're very familiar with. Talk about the uniqueness of playing a team like Mountain Brook just down the road that you're very familiar with, and then actually a rematch coming up with Hueytown in the state championship game.
Yeah, I think it just shows you how tough, Birmingham football is. You're right around this area, man. You can go 10, 15 miles down the road, and you got good football teams all over the place. And so again, man, it's a neat time to play football up here in Birmingham. You got a lot of good players, a lot of good coaches. And again, Coach Patterson, he does a great job with their group over there at Hueytown, and we got a chance to see them earlier in the year, and we're just very fortunate to get to see them again.
Coach Gilmer, your team finished the final regular season poll as the #1 ranked team in the state. You're now 14-0, headed for the state championship game at Protective Stadium. Tell folks around the state about some of the top players that folks can look out for in this state championship game coming up next Friday night.
No, yes, sir. No, I mean, on offense, starts with our quarterback, Caleb Johnson, running back, Edward Osley, and then, you go out wide and you got Marquarius White Squirrel, Mario Craver, Nate Owens. And then again, on the defensive side, again, you got, you start in the back end, you got Jaden Sweeney, Lamar Krosky, even Jalen Mbakwe is going to play receiver and defensive back. And you get down to DJ Barber at linebacker and Caleb Simon on the defensive line, and then our 2 big defensive ends, Devin Finley and Brian Darius Sykes. So, those are kind of some of the guys that kind of spotlight us on both sides of the football.
Coach Gilmer, to reach a state championship game, to have the kind of season you've had, there have to be some unique characteristics of this football team that obviously other teams don't have around the state, because only a handful are here. What are some of the unique characteristics about this Clay Chalkville team from your standpoint?
Yeah, I think it goes back to, man, this is this unique group and the fact of the type of kids we have. They're such, great, high character kids, and they love playing football and they love playing with each other, and they're passionate about it. And again, they're easy to coach. They want to be coached. They want to be pushed. They want to be great. And that makes it fun for us. Again, we're just extremely blessed to be around those kids every day. They've made us better people, better coaches. And, again, they just enjoy playing with each other, and they're very talented. So it's been one of those unique years.
Coaches, you look ahead to Hueytown, a team you've played already. They're a team averaging over 50 points a game. Your football team is averaging well into the 40s. This is looking like a very entertaining matchup coming up. From playing them the first time and what you know about Coach Patterson and his team at Hueytown, kind of your assessment of the Hueytown Golden Gopher team.
Yeah, no, Coach Patterson's done a great job with this team. Again, very talented, but you can see it on film. They've gotten better and better each week. They got a plan. They're going to execute their plan. And again, he's got them playing at a high level right now. And again, you got to stop their playmakers. They got capability of taking it to the house at any time. And so hopefully we can triple them up every now and then and maybe slow them down. If not, we may break the scoreboard out there at Progressive Stadium.
It should be entertaining. I think folks are looking forward to seeing this matchup between two very talented teams. And Coach, you mentioned an all-Jefferson County matchup, very unique here in the state championship game in Class 6A in prime time. Obviously a new stadium down in downtown Birmingham and uptown. Many of your players and staff and the folks from down at Clay, they have been by and they've seen that stadium. How excited is the community to be playing in that brand new venue and to just play, right down I-59 there in downtown Birmingham?
Yeah, I think they're extremely excited, man. It's brought a lot of excitement to Birmingham with the new stadium being there and UAB doing so well. And so, again, it's just, it's right there in our backyard. And so I think a lot of people are going to be able to show up and come and see a great football game. And I think the environment's going to be great. Just with a little smaller stadium, it's going to be jam-packed. And again, it's going to be a great night for football.
You've obviously developed one of the top programs in Class 6A football, really any class for that matter, here in the state of Alabama. What, just big picture wise, not necessarily this year, but overall, what do you think have been some of the keys to getting this Clay Chalkville team to the level that you're at right now?
Well, again, I think it starts with the assistant coaches, and administration, and you got to have all those people in place to make this happen. And like I said, it sure doesn't happen with just one person. Our assistant coaches do a great job, and those are the guys that make it work. I try not to get in the way too many times, but they do a phenomenal job with our kids and our administration. They do a great job of giving us the resources we need to be successful. And then when you put those things around really talented kids and top-notch kids that do the right things, it kind of falls into place on its own.
Coach, thank you so much. We appreciate the time. Best wishes to you and your football team as you make the short trip to Protective Stadium for the Class 6A championship game next Friday night against Hueytown.
Thank you.
Drew Gilmer, head coach of the Clay Chalkville Cougars, headed for the Class 6A championship game. Back in just a moment.
I'm Roger, your in-house expert with Alabama Professional, and your questions keep pouring in to Ask Roger. Judy in Arndale asked, what services can APS provide? Alabama Professional offers basement waterproofing, foundation repair, humidity and mold control, and encapsulation of nasty crawl spaces. Since 1977, homeowners have entrusted APS to solve basement, foundation, and crawl space problems. Call for a free, no-obligation estimate today and keep those emails and questions coming.
Sylacauga's best kept secret? No more. Harvey's on Noble is the place to go for the area's best food and drinks. Whether you're in the mood for steak, burgers, salad, seafood, or dessert, Harvey's on Noble will not disappoint, and the atmosphere is perfect for catching the big game or just relaxing after work. Harvey's is open for dinner Wednesday through Saturdays, so round up the family and we'll see you at Harvey's on Noble, downtown Sylacauga.
There's a lot in life to smile about. Are loose dentures or missing teeth keeping you from enjoying the things you love? Don't miss out on enjoying life's precious moments. You can be you again with affordable mini dental implants. You can smile again, laugh out loud, and have your self-confidence back. Let us help you make it memorable.
I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
The Alabama High School Athletic Association Super 7 Championships coming up this week at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. And we're going to be speaking right now with the head or actually the executive director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. Alvin Briggs joins us this morning from the AHSA offices in Montgomery. Mr. Briggs, good morning. Glad to have you with us. I know this is an exciting day for you and just a great day in the state of Alabama as we get ready to crown some more state champions in high school football.
What a beautiful day. What a beautiful way to culminate all our hard work that our communities and schools have done thus far. I mean, if you count all the weeks of practice, going back to August the 1st, we have 18 weeks. We're about to culminate and crown some champions next week in Protective Stadium in Birmingham. Our teams are excited. We have some first-time teams, have some teams that's been a long time here, have some teams that are repeating and have played each other 3 out of the last 4 years. And so, one team that's been here 4 years straight. So it's going to be exciting. We're excited about, what's going to happen next week in Birmingham, and the city of Birmingham is welcoming and opening their arms up to our community. So we're looking for all our communities that's a part of these 14 teams to come and share in the excitement, because these are your teams that are playing. These are your players. These are your friends. These are your family members that are out there. Whether they're playing in the band, cheerleading, just being students or part of the football program. It's a great time of the year. We just had Thanksgiving. So, John, yes, it's an exciting time.
Coach Briggs, you said it well there, talking about your teams and your communities. I was out at a game last night, a playoff game, and this was, as we talked with the coaches this morning, all across the state of Alabama, there were these semifinal games last night. Packed crowds, enthusiasm, excitement, pride, joy. There's nothing like high school football in the state of Alabama. Had some great semifinal games on campus last night, and now these state championship games at a beautiful place like Protective Stadium. If we've talked about before, Coach, no one does it quite like we do, and nobody does it better than the way we do it here in Alabama.
I think you're right, John. The whole concept that Mr. Washburn came up with having all the state championship games together in one place and when it was a Super Six back in Birmingham, and when the 2 years Mr. Savarese had it in Birmingham, and then Auburn and Alabama won it on their campuses, and it became a great experience for our teams then. And then to now have Birmingham back in the rotation is awesome, because they want to show that it should have never left Birmingham. I mean, it's a pride, as you mentioned, about our teams, and as we look at the teams that are in there and the surrounding communities, and per capita, everybody talking about high school football in Alabama as big as Texas, and we believe it. We believe there's nothing like in high school football in Alabama, and we just don't want a football games for our guys when it comes to championship. We want an event. We want an experience of a lifetime. And Protective Stadium in Birmingham is going to give us that chance, and that's what we're excited about.
Finally, Coach Briggs, you're going to talk to the coaches this morning, all these state championship coaches. What will your message be to these coaches that are playing in the state championships next week in Birmingham?
What the pandemic has taught us, not to take anything for granted. Enjoy the moment. Let your students enjoy the moment. Let the whole community enjoy the moment. It's about everybody. It's not about you. It's not about your team. It's about your entire school community, as I like to call it, in the surrounding areas. So enjoy it. Take in the moment. Everybody's a champion. This is not, even though we got the crown one, everybody's a champion. And so that's the message I want to give them, that it's a great experience. Don't let your kids or your community think that all is lost, because as we've been through this pandemic, we know we lost a lot of lives and lost a lot of family members. So it's a chance to reflect and really give thanks, even though we just had Thanksgiving, to appreciate where we've been and where we're going, and to make this moment as special as we can for the all involved.
Mr. Briggs, thank you for spending time with us. I know you got a busy morning down there. We appreciate you spending time with us to get ready and set the table for the Super 7 State Championships in Birmingham next week. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, John.
Alvin Briggs, Executive Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. The Super 7 state championships just days away at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. All the games live here on WOTM. Back in just a moment.
I'm Roger, your in-house expert with Alabama Professional, and your questions keep pouring in to Ask Roger. Judy in Arndale asked, what services can APS provide? Alabama Professional offers basement waterproofing, foundation repair, humidity and mold control, and encapsulation of nasty crawl space. Since 1977, homeowners have entrusted APS to solve basement, foundation, and crawl space problems. Call for a free, no-obligation estimate today and keep those emails and questions coming.
The perfect checking account doesn't exist. Not at a bank, that is. So why do you keep looking there? At AmFirst, you can get no minimum balance or monthly fees, an instant issue debit card, and free checks with unlimited check writing. But who doesn't want more? Like a rewards program you'll actually use, and convenient digital tools that make it easy to manage your account from anywhere. Now you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
Wrapping things up from the Alabama High School Athletic Association offices in Montgomery, the Super 7 preview show here on WOTM. John Holder with you on this Saturday morning before the championship games get underway next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. Let's take you through the brackets and show you the semifinal scores and set the state championship games for next week. We will begin in Class 1A, the championship game Thursday at 3 o'clock. That will feature Sweetwater and Wadley, a battle of Bulldogs. Sweetwater beating Brantley last night 21-18. Wadley a winner over Pickens County in Reform 41-36. As we move to Class 2A, the 2A state championship game will be coming up on Friday, and that will be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Two teams that have never been in a state championship game before, Clark County and Cleveland. Clark County last night in Grove Hill beating Highland Home 42-21. Cleveland upending defending state champion Mars Hill Bible 21-13. Cleveland and Clark County battling for the 2A title on Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. As we move to Class 3A, Montgomery Academy upending number 1 Montgomery Catholic in that big rival game in Montgomery last night, 10-7. In Calhoun County, it went to overtime, a wild game. Piedmont knocking off Sachs 52-44 in overtime. Montgomery Academy and Piedmont for the 3A title Thursday, December 2nd at 11 a.m. In Class 4A, Viger last night in a rematch for the second time this year, beating Jackson 42-21 down in Pritchard. And Aniana beat number 1 ranked Madison Academy 28-24 in Madison last night. A great Class 4A championship game coming up on Friday at 11 a.m. The Viger Wolves and the Aniana Redskins. Class 5A, Pike Road for the second time this year, beating Andalusia last night 33-0. In the North Alabama championship game, Pleasant Grove beat Fairview 47-17. Pleasant Grove will be making their third consecutive appearance in the 5A championship game, and they'll take on number 1 Pike Road, making their first ever appearance in a state title game. That will be Thursday night at 7 p.m. from Protective Stadium. Then in Class 6A, an all Jefferson County state championship game. Hueytown last night beating Hillcrest Tuscaloosa for the second time this year. The score 44-16. Meanwhile, Clay Chalkville upended Mountain Brook 24-18. The Cougars ranked number 1 in the final ASWA poll. It will be Clay Chalkville and Hueytown for the 6A title Friday night at 7 p.m. Getting things underway as we move into Wednesday. That's when we will have the Class 7A championship game in prime time, 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. Central of Phoenix City and Thompson should be a classic here. Central of Phoenix City last Friday night, the 7A folks had the week off. Central Phoenix City last Friday night beating Auburn 28-17. Also last Friday night, Thompson beat Hoover 35-10. So at Protective Stadium, it will be Central of Phoenix City and Thompson for the 7A title game, and that will be Wednesday at 7 p.m. And also, history will be made Wednesday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you can see this one live right here on WOTM as well. The first ever AHSAA Girls Flag Football State Championship will feature Hewitt-Trussville and Smith Station. That will be Wednesday at 3, also from Protective Stadium in Birmingham, and also live right here on WOTM. All those games, all 8 of those, counting the girls' flag football game, live beginning Wednesday at 3 here on WOTM. We'll see you back here next week.